will AI replace scientists? You know, everyone's asking this question now. AI can write papers. It can analyze data. It can find patterns in experiments. It can even propose hypotheses. So why do we need human scientists anymore? Just let the machines do it, right? You know, wrong. Let me tell you why AI will never replace scientists. Not because AI isn't powerful. It is. Not because AI can't do impressive things. It can. But because AI fundamentally doesn't understand what science actually is, science is not just finding patterns. It's not just analyzing data. It's not just making predictions. Those are tools. Those are methods. But that's not what science is. Science is about understanding. And understanding is not the same as knowing. And let me explain what I mean. Take an AI. Feed it all the data from every physics experiment ever done. Every measurement, every observation, every result. The AI can process that. It can find correlations. It can build models. It can predict what will happen in the next experiment with incredible accuracy. But does it understand physics? No. It doesn't understand anything. It's just matching patterns. It's doing statistics on a massive scale. Very sophisticated statistics, yes. But statistics, understanding is different. Understanding means you can look at an equation and see what it means. Not just mathematically, but physically. You can picture what's happening, you can feel it, you can ask why. Ben, when I look at Maxwell's equations, I don't just see symbols. I see electric fields and magnetic fields dancing together. I see waves propagating through space. I see light. I understand what those equations are telling me about how the world works. An AI doesn't see anything. It processes symbols. It manipulates them according to rules. But there's no comprehension, no insight, no feeling for what the equations mean. Now, you might say, but Feynman, maybe understanding doesn't matter. Maybe all that matters is prediction. If the AI can predict better than humans, who cares if it understands? That's a fair point. But here's the problem. Science isn't just about predicting. It's about asking new questions. Jandy AI is very good at answering questions you give it. You say, here's data, find a pattern. It finds the pattern. You say, predict the next result. It predicts. But where do the questions come from? Scientists ask questions that nobody thought to ask before. Why does light bend near massive objects? Why do particles behave like waves? Why is there something rather than nothing? These aren't questions that come from analyzing data. They come from curiosity, from wondering, from imagination. Imogen, can AI be curious? Can it wonder? Can it look at something ordinary and ask, wait, why is it like that? No. AI doesn't wonder. It doesn't get curious. It doesn't wake up in the middle of the night with a crazy idea that might be completely wrong, but might also be brilliant. It does what you tell it to do. It optimizes what you tell it to optimize. But it doesn't ask why, and science is all about why. Here's another problem. AI learns from data, lots of data. It finds patterns in that data. But what if the pattern you need to find isn't in the data yet? What if the breakthrough requires thinking in a completely different way? You know, Einstein didn't discover relativity by analyzing experimental data. He did thought experiments. He imagined riding on a beam of light. He asked, what would I see? That's not pattern matching. That's creativity. That's imagination. Can AI imagine riding on a beam of light? Can it come up with thought experiments that nobody's ever considered? Can it think outside the box when the box is all it's ever been trained on? You know, no. AI is bounded by its training data. It can interpolate. It can find patterns within the space it's seen. But true breakthroughs often come from stepping outside that space entirely, from questioning assumptions, from thinking in ways that seem crazy at first. Quantum mechanics seemed crazy. Relativity seemed crazy. The Big Bang seemed crazy. But scientists pursued these ideas anyway because they were trying to understand, not just to fit data. Now, let me be clear, AI is an incredibly powerful tool, and scientists should use it. AI can process data faster than any human. It can spot subtle patterns we might miss. It can do tedious calculations. It can search through millions of papers and find connections. That's wonderful. That helps scientists enormously. But that's not replacing scientists. That's assisting them. The AI is a tool, a very sophisticated tool. But a tool, you wouldn't say a telescope replaces astronomers. You wouldn't say a particle accelerator replaces physicists. These are instruments. They extend our abilities. AI is the same. It extends our ability to process information, but it doesn't replace the human asking the questions, interpreting the results, and seeking understanding. Here's another thing. Science makes mistakes all the time. Scientists propose theories that turn out to be wrong. They run experiments that fail. They go down dead ends. And that's okay. That's part of the process. But when a scientist makes a mistake, they can recognize it. They can say, wait, this doesn't make sense. Let me reconsider. They can change course. They can admit they were wrong and try something else. Can AI do that? Well, sort of. You can retrain it on new data. But it doesn't know it was wrong. It doesn't feel the discomfort of a theory that doesn't quite fit. It doesn't have that nagging sense that something's off. Scientists have intuition, not magic intuition. Intuition built from years of experience, of playing with ideas, of developing a feel for what makes sense and what doesn't. That intuition guides research. It helps scientists decide which ideas are worth pursuing and which aren't. Gen AI doesn't have intuition. It has probabilities. It can tell you what's likely based on the data, but it can't tell you what's interesting, what's worth investigating, what might lead somewhere unexpected. Advanced science is also a human activity. It's done by people. People with biases, yes. People who make mistakes, yes. But also people who care. People who are driven by curiosity and wonder and the desire to understand. When you read a scientific paper, you're not just reading results. You're reading someone's struggle to understand something, their journey, their insights, their mistakes. That's meaningful. That's human, and AI can generate a paper. It can format it correctly, use the right jargon, cite the right sources. But there's no journey there, no struggle, no human trying to make sense of the universe. And science needs that human element, because science isn't just for scientists, it's for everyone. It's humanity's collective effort to understand the world we live in. And that requires human beings to care about it. Now, here's what I think will actually happen. AI will change how we do science. It already is. AI will handle more of the data analysis. It'll help design experiments. It'll search the literature. It'll even suggest hypotheses to test. But the core of science, the asking of deep questions, the pursuit of understanding, the creative leaps, the intuition, the wonder, that will still be human. And scientists will use AI the way they use computers now. As a tool, a powerful tool that makes certain things much easier. But the scientist is still the one directing the work. Still the one asking what's worth investigating. Still the one trying to understand. Blind. There's also something important about being wrong in science. The history of science is full of brilliant people being spectacularly wrong, and that's not a failure. That's progress. Because being wrong in an interesting way often leads to new insights. Gen AI can be wrong, but it's not wrong in interesting ways. It's wrong because its model doesn't fit the data. That's a technical problem. You fix it by adjusting the model or getting more data. Bland. But when Einstein was wrong about quantum mechanics, when he said God doesn't play dice, that wrongness led to deep debates about the nature of reality. It pushed other scientists to think harder, to clarify their ideas, to understand more deeply. Human wrongness is productive. It sparks debates. It forces clarification. It leads to new questions. AI wrongness is just a bug to be fixed. And here's maybe the deepest point. Science is not just about getting the right answer. It's about understanding why that's the right answer, and AI can tell you that E equals mc squared. It can use that equation to make predictions. It can apply it correctly. But does it understand what that equation means? Does it grasp the profound idea that mass and energy are the same thing? That matter is just frozen energy? That the universe is fundamentally different than it appears? No. It processes the equation. It doesn't understand it. And that understanding, that deep comprehension of what the universe is really like, that's what science is for. Not just to predict, not just to control, but to understand. Humans want to understand. We're driven by curiosity. We want to know not just what happens, but why. We want to grasp the underlying reality. We want to feel like we comprehend the universe we live in. AI doesn't want anything. It has no desires, no curiosity, no sense of wonder. It does what it's programmed to do. Very well, yes, but without any understanding of why it matters. So will AI replace scientists? No. Will AI change science? Yes, absolutely. It already has. Scientists will use AI more and more. It'll become an indispensable tool. But the scientist, the human being asking questions and seeking understanding, that's not going away, because science at its core is a human endeavor. It's our species trying to make sense of the world. And you can't automate that. You can assist it. You can speed it up. You can process more data, but you can't replace the human desire to understand. Let me put it another way. Imagine we build an AI so advanced that it can do everything a scientist does. It can ask questions. It can design experiments. It can analyze results. It can propose theories. And it does all of this better and faster than any human. What have we accomplished? We've built a machine that produces scientific knowledge, but who is that knowledge for? Who's going to read it? Who's going to understand it? Who's going to appreciate it? Science is done by humans, for humans. The goal is human understanding, and you can't shortcut that. You can't just have machines understand for us. We have to do the understanding ourselves. That's what makes science valuable, not the predictions, not the applications. Those are useful, yes, but what makes science meaningful is that it deepens our comprehension of reality. It changes how we see the world, and that requires human minds. So here's my answer. AI will not replace scientists. It will become an essential tool for scientists. It will change how research is done. It will accelerate certain kinds of. But the core of science, the human quest for understanding, that's not going away, and thank goodness for that. Because a world where machines do all the thinking and humans just passively receive answers, that's not a world I want to live in. Science is one of humanity's greatest achievements, not because we've learned to predict things, but because we've learned to understand things. And that understanding is ours. It's human, and it always will be. AI can help us understand, but it can't understand for us. And it can't replace the joy, the wonder, the satisfaction of figuring something out, of finally grasping why the universe works the way it does. That's irreplaceable. That's human. That's science. So no, AI will not replace scientists. It'll make them more powerful, more capable, more efficient, but it won't replace them, because in the end, science isn't about processing data. It's about understanding reality. And understanding requires a mind that cares, that wonders, that seeks meaning, and no machine, no matter how sophisticated, can do that. Not now, not ever,